If you've been anywhere near WNBA Twitter the past 48 hours, you know exactly why the Chicago Sky are trending. Angel Reese went on the record with the Chicago Tribune and lit a match under her own franchise. Her message was blunt. She's not settling for the status quo. She wants the best of the best around her, and this offseason can't look anything like the last one. That's the headline. The aftershock has been even louder. Teammates were reportedly unhappy. A locker room meeting was scheduled. Fans and front offices around the league are asking the same question. Did Angel Reese just put the Sky on notice, or did she put a target on her own back? Before we dive into the fallout, sound off in the comments. Are you Team Clark or Team Reese right now? Do you see a leader holding standards or a young star who misread the room? Tap like so more WNBA fans see this breakdown, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll keep you locked on WNBA news, trade buzz, playoff races, and the off-season moves that could reshape both the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. Let's start with a quote that detonated the news cycle. Talking to the Tribune, Reese said she wasn't settling for the same this year. She doubled down with a non-negotiable. We have to get good players. We have to get great players. She also vowed to help recruit them. However I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. And finish by saying we can't settle for what we have this year. If that sounds like a demand for a roster overhaul, that's because it is. That kind of talk is rare mid-season, and rarer still from a 22-year-old who hasn't yet completed a full campaign without injury. You can make a case for high standards. Stars are supposed to be demanding. The most competitive ones set the bar high and then drag everyone with them. There's a way to do that publicly without scorching your own locker room. What inflamed the situation here was not just a firm tone. It was the subtext and the timing. Chicago is finishing out a difficult year. They're not out of the woods yet. They've been juggling injuries, lineups, and the pressure that comes with the expectation to win now after splashy moves. Saying, we can't settle for what we have, with games still on the calendar, invites a heat you have to be ready to carry. Reports suggest that heat found its mark. Multiple outlets said teammates were unhappy with the directness of the comments, and that a team meeting was organized so players could address Reese face-to-face. That's not business as usual. That's damage control. Even in the most competitive environments, players prefer to air grievances privately before going public. When the story breaks the other way, veterans feel disrespected, younger teammates feel dismissed, and coaches have to spend energy knitting together something that didn't need to be split. Then there was a line about Courtney Vandersloot, an icon who needs no introduction to WNBA fans. Though she's recovering from a torn ACL, she's a two-time champion, five-time All-Star, and a floor general who's won everywhere she's played. Reese's comment that the team can't rely on Courtney to come back at that age may have been about roster planning, not respect. But the soundbite landed like a shovel. Around this league, veterans watch how young stars talk about legacy names. Vandersloot is one of the most respected point guards in WNBA history. You don't need to be a Sky diehard to know that. Even if Reese didn't intend to be dismissive, that's how it sounded to a lot of people. All of this would be a different conversation if Chicago's front office hadn't already swung big to build around her. They have. The Sky paid real capital to go get proven help. They moved pieces, high-value ones, to add championship DNA. Remember, Sonia Citron, a rising star and a Rookie of the Year chatter, was shipped out as part of a deal to bring in Ariel Atkins, a player with a title on her resume and a reputation for doing the hard-winning things on both ends. That's the kind of move you make when you're building around someone you believe is the future. It's one thing to say we need more. It's another to say it when your front office is already cashing good assets to give you exactly that. The backdrop makes the outburst feel more volatile. In a season where chemistry is fragile and criticism goes viral, the responsibility to calibrate your words is part of being a franchise player. Reese didn't calibrate. The reaction inside the locker room, get elite talent, is wrong on its face. Every team wants it. It's that the way it came out suggested the teammates around her were placeholders. That crosses a different line. There's also the on-court ledger. If you want the microphone all the time, the production has to match. Reese's counting numbers can look sturdy at a glance, roughly mid-teens in points and double-digit rebounds. But the turnover column has been hard to ignore. Despite missing, she climbed to the top of the WNBA turnovers list, piling up giveaways at a clip that outpaced some of the league's highest usage guards. You can explain some of that by aggression and workload. You can't explain all of it away. Turnovers, especially live ball turnovers, are fuel for opposing runs. Teams that had success blitzing her dribble, digging on the catch, and forcing reads she's still learning to make at pro speed. Inside, the finishing has been erratic against length. Opponents have also crowded her and dared her to make quick decisions in traffic. Some nights those reads landed. Too many nights they didn't. None of that is unusual for a young post player tightening a craft against veteran defenses that know how to crowd the paint. The issue is how that reality clashes with the optics of demanding the best of the best. You can ask for excellence while chasing it yourself. But if you don't strike the right tone, the stat sheet turns your quotes into a mirror. Discipline came into focus too. It wasn't just the turnovers. Reese hit the league's technical foul threshold ahead of a marquee rivalry game. Automatic suspension after the 8th tech. The timing was brutal. Fans had circled the next chapter of Fever versus Sky. Instead, she sat, the result of a call stemming from contact to Aaliyah Edwards' head on a rebound, whether you saw intent or incidental contact. The official saw enough to whistle it, and the league's rules did the rest. Point blank. When you're faced with a franchise asking for more, you can't be unavailable because your temper got the better of you. The message it sends to the locker room, to the front office, to free agents evaluating your situation, isn't the one you want out there. Here's the other on-court truth. There were stretches where the Sky looked freer without her. The ball moved. The spacing breathed. The defense tightened. No one is arguing Chicago is better without talent. That would be nonsense. But anytime a team's flow improves when a star sits, you pay attention. That can be as simple as scheme fit, timing, and reps. It can also be a sign the star's habits are out of sync with what the staff is asking. Either way, it's a coaching problem and a leadership problem until it's solved. Now zoom out and consider free agency, because Reese's comments were really about that, whether she framed it that way or not. We need great players, she said. We need the best of the best. The most revealing sentence came later. I think, honestly, it would be a leap of faith for a great player to come here. That line may be the most honest thing she said. Top free agents weigh money, role, and culture. If the team star is taking loud public shots at teammates before the season ends, how does that play in a pitch meeting? If the star is suspended for a key game the league has been promoting, how you sell discipline and standards? Reese isn't wrong about the need to recruit aggressively. She may have just made the sales job harder. All of this lands more heavily because there's a foil in plain sight 180 miles away. Caitlin Clark's season ended early with a groin injury. Her reaction to the disappointment was instructive. She kept traveling. She sat at the end of the bench in street clothes, stood to huddle, clapped, pointed out reads, and made sure her presence added something on nights when she had no stat line to give. You can call that optics. You can also call it leadership. While fans asked when she would be back, she refused to turn rehab into theater. No public timetable, no empty promises, no sulking. She stayed close and kept the attention on the healthy Fever players doing the work. Clark's in-game personality is different too. Even when the national microscope was on her every dribble, she kept pressers about the team. She highlighted Aaliyah Boston's growth, credited Kelsey Mitchell's consistency, and celebrated Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham for giving the Fever edge and spacing. She even complimented Reese after a head-to-head, refusing to feed the clickbait that constantly tries to pit them against each other. That's not accidental. It's culture setting. It's why you hear veterans around the league say they'd love to play with her. The result is tangible. Indiana runs cleaner. Boston gets better looks. Spacing makes sense. The assist numbers are the proof. League leading last year, elite again this year in limited action, and a team offense built around ball movement instead of heroics. Fever head coach Stephanie White didn't hide how proud she was of the group's resilience through injuries of their own. The personality of that room is what you want. They celebrate each other, they share the ball, and they hold each other accountable. Culture shows up on the scoreboard. It also shows up at the ticket window. Indiana is smashing attendance records, selling out on the road, moving merchandise, and grabbing primetime windows in a way the franchise hasn't seen in years. Meanwhile, the Sky are fielding questions about suspensions, holding emergency meetings, and trying to convince their own fan base that the plan is working. Optics aren't everything. There's something. Back to Reese. It is absolutely fair to want championships and demand help. Plenty of greats started that journey with the same grievances. The leap from ambition to leadership is about timing and tone. Leaders win credibility with consistency and owning their part in what needs to change. The rest of the league measures you by how you carry yourself on hard nights, as much as by what you say when the mic finds you. Does Reese have the talent to anchor a title team? Of course. She's a ferocious rebounder, a relentless presence on glass, and a competitor who can swing momentum with energy. But if her words repeatedly put her teammates on defense and her habits repeatedly put her team in harm's way, the conversation shifts from get her help to, is she the right person to build around? A balanced look requires this too. Chicago's roster is a work in progress. Injuries have hacked the rotation to pieces. The front office got aggressive at the deadline and will likely get aggressive again. It's possible that 6 months from now, we'll look back and say this was a moment that forced the Sky to sharpen their vision. Practice facility upgrades, more resources, smarter veteran ads. It's also possible we'll look back and say the Sky realized their biggest obstacle wasn't the salary cap. It was a young star who wanted the trappings of leadership before mastering the responsibilities that come with it. There's a pathway out of this for Reese. It isn't complicated. It just takes discipline. Start with the ball. Cut the turnovers by half in each game by simplifying decisions. Kickouts on the second defender. Keep high finishes instead of bringing the ball into strips, strong hand counters, and traffic. Next, tighten the finishing package, especially against length. Use the glass more. Play off 2 feet when a lane is crowded. Accept the foul and the free throws instead of forcing shots through arms. Third, channel the fire. Talk to officials less and teammates more. You can be intense without being combustible. Every word you say for the huddle is one less word that gives an opponent fuel. And finally, choose the microphone moments. Demand excellence behind closed doors. Praise publicly. That's a cliche because it works. As for the Sky, front office decisions are again on the clock. If they want to recruit stars, they have to make Chicago a place stars want to be. That goes beyond money. It's about stability, facility upgrades, elite medical and performance support, and a locker room that doesn't feel like a courtroom. The message to free agents has to be simple. We have a plan, we have infrastructure, we'll support your best basketball, and we won't ask you to babysit drama. That's how you win July. If the organization thinks Reese can be part of that message, they'll build around her accordingly. If they think her brand is bigger than the team right now, they'll consider other options. That's how the W works. The contrast with Indiana doesn't have to be permanent. Culture can be copied. Professionalism can be learned. Chicago can absolutely be a free agent destination again. Big city, big market, championship banners and rafters, and a fan base that wants to cheer. The path starts with self-awareness. That applies to franchises and to players. It's never too late to change the way you're viewed, but you have to start by looking squarely at what created the view in the first place.